Good. We're gonna get started. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Dose of Insurance Marketing, a show where we interview local agents covering topics that you want to know about. Things like marketing, leads, follow-up processes, automation, recruiting, and retention. We really find out what's working and what's not. I'm your host, Richard Paul, and today we're here with Tyler from American Family in Utah. How's it going, Tyler?
Good, going good. It's we're starting to get a little bit of snow, so I'm happy about it.
Oh man, I love snow. I'm up in I was actually raised in Idaho, but I live in Oregon right now. We get no
Yeah,
snow here, and over there
yeah,
it's
it's
like,
rough.
pretty
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, oh yeah, we get lots of it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, awesome. Well, guys, hey, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna have a great show with Tyler. Packed full of a lot of helpful tips that you'll be able to implement into your agency by the end of the show today. But before we get started, there should be a share button somewhere around here where, there's a lot of agents out there needing information and kind of guidance. Because right now, guys, in a lot of the insurance industry, a lot of people are just kind of out there, fishing, just trying to find something that might work more than, once. And so if you could share this, that would be fantastic. So that way we can get this out to all the insurance agents in the country. So in today's show, we're going to cover mainly three topics. We're going to cover outbound marketing, things like Facebook ads and leads. We're going to cover inbound marketing. So we're going to cover things like referral partners, and then maybe driving through giveaways. And then we're going to talk about automation and follow-up, because one of the most important things, especially in today's world, is follow-up. It doesn't even matter if somebody knows you. They don't really answer the phone, so on
Yeah,
calling leads or other prospects or referral partners, we got to be pretty diligent with the follow-up process. So we're going to go over a little bit of that with us. So Tyler, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your agency?
yeah. So my agency, we started scratch about 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, and since then we've kind of grown. I started from day one. I had a producer, and then we've just kind of grown. Now we're a team of 6 of us, and we're one of the top producing agencies in the state for American Family. So um, a lot of what we do is just referral marketing. I mean, it's fun. It's really fun. We're really big in life insurance and commercial business insurance, and yeah, I mean that's just a little bit about our agency. So
Awesome. Okay. Well, what we'll do, guys, we're just going to dive into kind of some of the questions and kind of get to it. So, Tyler, why don't we start with the kind of the outbound marketing with the agency? I know you hit on referrals, and we'll touch on that in just a minute. Are you guys doing any outbound marketing, such as referrals or mailer, or not referrals, but leads or mailers or Facebook ads
yeah,
or any of that?
absolutely. So we do have leads that we buy from. We have an internal system that we get for super good deals. So it's kind of like we're losing money not getting them, right? So it keeps the activity going. Why when our referrals are a little bit slower. So
Hmm.
especially during this time of the year, people aren't focusing on buying insurance in December. They're focusing on spending all their money on Black Friday. So it's so leads are good. Leads are good to keep the activity because it's like, hey, these people are looking for insurance. So that's where we spend quite a bit of our time in December, and just kind of through the holidays really is with leads. So, but as all of us know in the industry, leads are terrible. So um, they're not the greatest source, but it's an activity source, and sometimes we get a little gold nugget out of it. So
It really does. One of the things it also does is kind of help keep morale up a lot, just because
yeah,
for the whole team, they're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, looking at the, scoreboard, being like, man, I can't sell anything.
yep,
At least they
yep,
have something to dial on and they can, squeeze a couple sales out of it. Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Are on those leads, are you guys usually doing, the email leads? Or are you guys usually doing live transfer calls?
Just the email leads. So we do have an option for live transfer calls, but I'm on the more conservative side of my marketing budget. So
Hmm.
I don't really do live transfer calls. But we have another agent in this office that owns his own agency, and he shares this office with us, and he does live transfers, and he does pretty good with them. Those work out pretty good because if you got a live person on the phone, you're not trying to get a hold of Mickey Mouse that came in as an internet lead. So we get those all the time. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean I know that they work. I'm just a little more on the conservative side of marketing. So
Sure, sure. Okay, very good. And what about Facebook? I know Facebook right now is a really hot topic for a lot of
Yeah.
agents. It's a huge platform, but a lot of agents really don't, monetize it at all. Do you guys utilize it much?
Yeah. Yep. So I've got one of my producers in my office. One of her side roles is she handles all my social media. So she does like our posts on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It keeps relevant. And some every now and then we get leads from it. We don't really hit Facebook as hard as we should be for getting leads. It's more or less just to keep us relevant and keep us in. When people are searching stuff in Google, we pop up because of our Facebook activity or our social media activity. So that's the main reason we do it. But I had a producer in the past though who he had this little niche that he'd do on Facebook, and he'd go into most cities now, most big metropolitan areas have like these classified groups, these garage sale groups on Facebook, and he would go in there and search the word insurance and find people complaining about their insurance. Then he would use a profile that he made up. So he made a fake profile, right, and join this group. And he'd go in there and message and be like, "Hey, you should go talk to my insurance agent. They're amazing. They saved me a ton of money." Well, whatever the case may be. And he kind of had that niche market, and he was pulling about $20,000 in premium every month out of that. So he was killing it. So I
Wow.
know there's a market out there on Facebook. Yeah, he was it was incredible how he did it, but he was working 16 hours a day doing it, so it was
Right.
very hands-on and a lot of time consumption, but he had the time to do it, so he was doing that. But
That's amazing. Some I've heard of that kind of thing in different groups, and they're not even groups about insurance. Like you said, they're
yeah.
classified groups, and
Hmm.
people will go in there and just be conversating about something else, and then all of a sudden they'll
Yeah.
talk about their insurance, and boom, it's right there. And I see
Yeah.
that on. There's a number of apps now. I'm not sure if you've seen the Nextdoor app, but the Nextdoor app, there's
Yeah.
a ton like that. People will there's so much service related stuff that people can drum up if
Oh
they
yeah.
just kind of pay attention and comment. But like I said,
Yep.
you said it takes time. It's like 16 hours a day. You just can't be sitting here with all your screens with all your apps up, waiting for
Yeah,
insurance.
no, not at all. And I mean, most people, when 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever people's office hours are. I mean, ours is 8 to 6, but whatever your office hours are, your people are working then too. They're working their jobs 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is. They're in these groups and on Facebook complaining about their insurance or looking for new insurance after those hours or before those hours. So it's like, well, you got to find someone who's invested enough to, you know, go out there and search for it, or you got to do it yourself. So, but
Right.
it's out there. I mean, there's money everywhere. So
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Very good. Um, any other types of marketing you guys are having success with, or maybe even like a giant flop, something that you were like, wow, we really tried this, we really thought it was going to work, and nothing.
um, you know, there's been companies that, I mean, we get calls from lead companies all the time, and they say, "Hey, if you give us $500, we'll give you 300 leads or something, or we'll give you a free whatever leads." Those are terrible. When I first started, I started scratch. That's nerve wracking. You're starting with no guarantees and nothing, and you're like, "Hey, this person's willing to give me a list of 300 people, which I don't have right now. So yeah, I'll buy it." And you call, and two of the 300 answer, and nobody buys. So those are terrible. Those are just, I don't even know where they're getting their information from, but I think they just pull it out of the phone book and sell it to us. So, but really, that's the only thing that I haven't had the greatest luck with. I mean, our internet lead close ratio is probably one of the highest. We're at like a 13%, which is
Yeah, that's
pretty
great.
good. But at the end of the day, leads are, I mean, with our referral marketing, we're at a 47% close ratio. So it's that's where I want to focus my time at. So
Exactly. Yeah, we can
yeah,
move into that real quick in just a second. So one thing I
yeah,
before we do is looking at the differences between close rates, and I think this is really important to point out in talking about marketing methods because there sometimes are methods that work, fairly consistently, right? But the amount
yeah,
of work to go from point A to sale is a lot, right? Like going through all of those leads, finally getting a hold of somebody, even though
yep,
nobody answers the phone, and then you probably got to follow up with them a couple times. So there's a lot of work to get a
yeah,
policy going that through that rate or that manner.
mhm,
And there's a lot of other ways, especially when we're going to talk about referral marketing, is a way that you can, increase that conversion rate, spend way less time. But the thing that I find with a lot of people that move into the referral space is they fully don't really move into the referral space, right?
Yeah.
To where so they don't ever get to the point where they can really get those consistently. So let's talk about that really quick. As far as referral,
Yeah.
what type of referral partners do you guys partner with right now to find policies?
Yeah, so property managers they're a decent source. I mean, it's renters insurance policies. Renters insurance policies pay us peanuts,
Hmm.
but it gives us the opportunity to get that person's cars, get their life insurance. I mean, I can't remember what the stats are, but I think 1 in 7 people who live in America have dreams of starting a small business. So there's a potential for everything insurance out of the renters insurance. Um, so property managers are really good for us. Also for getting like HOAs, condominium associations, apartment buildings. Because that's where we like to focus in
Hmm.
is in that area for commercial insurance. But then on the flip side of that too, on our personal line side, we do loan officers, loan processors. Those are huge for us. That's my hands down my biggest source of referrals is that. Um, and not to throw in a little kick in there for you, but um, with your LinkedIn program that you got me set up, that's how me and you got in contact. I mean, that's been
Hmm.
huge for us. So that gave us the kickstart we needed to get into those mortgage offices and actually build the relationships and get referrals from them. So, I mean, I'm getting referrals from people in Nevada, and I live in Salt Lake City. So, because of this LinkedIn program. So it's that's our bread and butter. That pays the bills. The property manager is kind of the icing on the cake. So
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. LinkedIn guys, so we'll hit on this really quickly. If you're not using LinkedIn as an insurance agent or really most any professional at this point, you really need to jump on there and take some time to, maybe update your profile and find who that person is that you need to
yeah,
find, because 9 times out of 10, you can get in contact with that person without any gatekeepers. There's no riffraff. You just send them a message, they
yeah,
respond, and off you go. So um, oh, okay. So great. So let's talk about as far as getting these referral partners. So you said you got some in Nevada. How does that
yeah,
relationship work? Like when you jump on the phone with somebody that might not be in your neighborhood, because I know for a lot of captive agents, over the years, I've been doing this for almost 10 years and sold all sorts of different types of, lead products and things like that. And most people really want to stay really in their neck of the woods. And in insurance today, that's
yeah,
really changing, right? I mean, a lot of agents
yeah.
can't survive just in their neck of the woods anymore. They've got a lot of times got to go statewide, and it sounds like you're going multi-state. So let's talk about a little bit of a
Yeah.
conversation that might, how that unfolds.
Yeah, so it's well with American Family, and this isn't an advertisement, obviously, but with American Family, they allow us to, you know, get licensed in multiple states and sell multiple states. I was at a previous insurance company where I was captive, and I was barely allowed to leave my zip code. And so, if I was in northern Utah trying to sell someone in southern Utah, I was getting a lot of crap for it. So. Um, they'd allow it, but it was giving me a hard time. So, but going to multiple states has really helped because, and insurance rates are changing all the time. I mean, specifically in Utah, our rates change in May and November. That's when our filing periods are. So I know that, hey, look, we might get a rate increase or a decrease. If we get an increase, I know the production is going to slow down in Utah. So let's try out our different states. I mean, now at this point, I'm in, I think, 11 states. So, you know, uh, specifically right now, I have a state in the Midwest that's really good for us. So, I got licensed there, and I buy some internet leads there, and then I, search that area on my LinkedIn as well, and try to, partner with some loan officers out there. So, there's lots of different ways to get creative and find production. I mean, if you're with someone that you can be in multiple states, you know, there's a whole country we have that's our grocery store to go shopping, right? So, we've got plenty of people where we can find new people to sell insurance to. So there's a ton of opportunity out there. So multiple states, the licensing is pretty cheap, and if you got a good internet lead program, I mean, that gets your foot in the door over there. So
Right, right, awesome. Okay, so when you're chatting with these guys, do you find that a lot of them are already working with somebody, or do you feel like a lot of the people that you talk to are fairly open to working with you?
yeah, Both. I find that, a lot of people, especially here in Utah, there's a couple big agents that are, really big in the mortgage area or in the loan officer area. But we've also got like 1,300 loan officers in Utah. So, there's still a big opportunity. But most of them, a lot of them are already working with someone, but they're willing to work with us because, they've been working with so-and-so for a year, 2 years, and now they've just kind of got relaxed with their system. And, oh, if I get them back an evidence of insurance request in 2 or 3 hours, it'll be okay. And I come in and say, hey, I can do it in 15 minutes. They're like, perfect. We need quickness. And so they're willing to work with me. And, it's pretty much everybody's doors open on LinkedIn, really. I mean, there's very few times I get a no, which is so hard to say in sales. You get a no 20 times before you get a yes, and when you're using that LinkedIn program the correct way, I mean, you're getting, yeah, let's meet for coffee. Yeah, let's have a chat. I think I've got 7 appointments next week. The week before Christmas, people are wanting to talk to me about a referral partnership. So it's, that just kind of speaks volumes. So.
It does, and one of the things that I want to kind of bring up is, with LinkedIn and with the relationship between you and the loan officer. I know a lot of times, especially there's lots of programs going out there or going on out there, especially on Facebook and LinkedIn, on how to incentivize a loan officer to refer business back. And I think that can be an important piece of the relationship. But a lot of times when we're seeing these conversations between insurance agents and loan officers, the basics a lot of times are kind of neglected. Just like you said, they might be working
Yeah.
with somebody for a while. They kind of get a little bit lax on what they're doing. They don't get back to them in time. And it's one of the things that we see in chat all the time is, and this happens with all salespeople. A lot of
Yep.
people just drop the ball. People get lazy for whatever reason. And,
Oh, yeah.
that relationship kind of gets tarnished. And so for us to be able to just come in and, give them a new, fresh perspective is super important. But just doing the
Absolutely.
basics, answering your phone, calling people back and getting them their stuff back in 15, 20 minutes or, instead of 3 or 4 hours of the day. I've even heard people a couple days. So,
Yeah, that's
wow.
crazy. Yeah, I'll never understand that, but yeah,
Yep.
it is what it
Yep.
is. So it just gives opportunity for guys like me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does for everybody. Awesome. Okay. So that's kind of on the mortgage piece. Are you guys looking at any other types of referral partners you guys work with at all?
I've got, just our current clients. I mean, really, that's a
Hmm.
huge referral thing for us. I mean, we do a good service for our clients. They like us. They send their friends and family here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we do that. We try to set up. So I've actually formed my own little marketing tripod with the health insurance, with like a group health insurance guy. Um,
Hmm.
So with him, and then there's another lady, she does accounting and bookkeeping, or not accounting, but tax prep and bookkeeping.
Hmm.
And between us three, we can pretty much provide all services for what a business needs as far as their professional services needs goes, except for if it's a restaurant, we're not providing their food deliveries, but we can provide everything else for them, on the back end. So we've kind of formed that, and then they go out and market it, and then we come in and we say, hey, look, here's the services we offer. And then all of a sudden we're having a meeting with their employees about group benefits. And then all of a sudden it's, hey, look, I can do your auto insurance as well. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities out there. I mean, if you're, a lot of people get too proud and say, hey, I've already, no, I can do health insurance. I can personally sell health insurance, but my product that I can sell health insurance and group health insurance is terrible. So I know that, hey, I'm not good in this arena. So I'm going to go find a guy and say, hey, let's put in a couple $100 into a trifold and let's go market the heck out of small businesses. I mean, that's where I do good. That's where you're going to get some group benefits packages out of. And then the bookkeeper can come in and offer that added value to them as well. So, um, partnerships just with other professionals in the similar industry is huge. I've got independent agents that send me stuff, which is crazy. Independent agents are, typically, hey, we can do everything and anything. The couple guys that I partner with, they know that, hey, look, you're really good in this arena and I'm really good in this one. So we send stuff back and forth, so there's really good partnerships with really, people that you would think that you're supposed to be competing against. Um, but in the end of the day, I mean, we can all help each other out, really. So, it's just fun. So,
I think that is such an important piece, and we might just do a whole show on it here coming up. Is just that piece of the different types of people that you can network with on a referral
mhm.
basis. There, for in an agency, so many times they get stuck with just one type of person. A lot of times that might be a loan officer or a realtor or something, but there are
Mm-hmm.
so many different ways to partner, just like you said, with even people that are selling property and casualty insurance because
Yeah.
they know you're strong in a spot, being able to partner with them. And a lot of people just won't break down that barrier
Yeah.
to do that, and kind of just get creative. Like, who else can we think of? And if you really think about, if eventually you really want to run your whole agency on just referrals down the road, this has to
Yeah.
be a pretty wide net, and your clients are one wide net, and then you have some loan officers, realtors, but all these other people, if you can just form the relationship and find creative ways about talking about forming that relationship, and the benefits that you can help with, I think is super, super crucial.
Yeah.
So
I 100% agree.
awesome. Will, anything else you want to add on in referrals pieces? Not
No, that's
okay.
that's all I
Cool.
got really. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to last piece of the show. We're going to talk about follow-up and automation. This is one of the biggest pieces, guys. Everybody in the U.S., nobody answers their phone, right? I don't care if you're a salesperson or you don't sell anything. Most people just don't answer unless they know exactly who it is, and a lot of times they still don't answer. And so, just having some processes in place to follow up with, whether that's referral partners or, people that walked in or the internet leads. Let's talk about a little bit of what those processes look like for you guys, and then we'll kind
Yeah.
of wrap things up.
Yeah. So, kind of like you said, I mean, most people aren't answering the phone. I mean, more than 90% of them aren't answering the phone. We call them. So, what we do is we have a text program that we run off of it's the platform called Hearsay, and it's actually a cool platform. It manages all of our social media, all that stuff, which is cool. Well, it doesn't manage it, but it puts it all in one place. So if we want to do one post, it'll post across all platforms for us in one
Mm-hmm.
shot,
Yep.
which is awesome. So, um, but they've got a texting platform that we get to use, and so we text. So we call twice in a row because typically if someone's calling you twice in a row, people think it's important. So they answer the phone typically on the second time, or they just don't. After that, then we text them. We let them know, hey, we don't say, hey, we're with an insurance company. We're trying to sell you insurance. We say, hey, it's Tyler. Shoot me a call when you get a chance.
Right.
And then they're like, Tyler, who do I know? It's Tyler. Oh, I better call him back. And then they call back like, hey, how are you? I just wanted to go over this with you. So we try to get creative in how we're marketing these people and how we're talking to these people, because I mean, people have been sold a million times. They don't want to be sold anymore. So it's hey, look, let's just have a conversation. And at the end of the day, if I can do something better for you, great. If not, then you stay where you're at. So that's one of our biggest things. I want to get into where we use automation, but we don't. So it's because I just grew up old school. So going, I'm kind of like my grandparents' era in mindset as far as that goes. So um, trying to go automated is hard for me because I still take down paper notes and put on sticky notes and pass along to the office. So, um, but
Yep.
yeah, so we do that, and then we also email if there's an email address, but email is pretty much worthless unless you're talking to someone who's in a professional environment that checks their email all day, every day. So, if it's just a personal email and someone's, a minor, which is huge out here in this area, they're not checking their emails. So,
Mm-hmm.
they don't care about them. So, I mean, that's really our follow-up process, but we do that. I mean, the way I have my producer set up is that they work every other day. So they kind of counter each other. And so the one will follow up with his stuff on Monday, then the other one will come in and they'll follow up on their stuff on Tuesday and the other person's stuff. So every single day, these people are getting contacted in
Great.
some way, shape, or form. We're bugging them until they can tell us either to shut up and go away, or until they give us their information so we can quote their stuff for them. So, but that's really big. We're really big on follow up. I mean, it's proven time and time again that follow up is the key to everything. So it's huge. So,
Yeah.
but that's where we're at.
Yeah, well, I was reading something the other day that said on average right now we're looking at 16 touches to get a hold of somebody or get to the sale. And I find that
Oh
to be
wow.
true even with some of the leads that we have that are, they're kind of either lukewarm leads that come in, or, even people that said, yeah, that sounds fantastic. And then all of a
Huh.
sudden, who knows what happens? They just don't either answer
Yep.
the phone, or you get their gatekeeper 16 times. They don't answer their email. And then one
Yep.
random day they answer the phone and poof, and a lot of people don't do that.
Yep.
Most people will literally stop on call two. They'll call them today, they'll call them tomorrow, maybe we'll call them Wednesday. It's like,
Yep.
nope, never mind, and they just go on to the next. And it's so crucial, because every time you go through your database, I see posts about this all the time when people get into some sort of an automated phase and bring all their old leads in and put them in there. They're like, boom, they sold like 10 policies, in a couple of days. Because why? They were all sitting there. Most of us just don't have a process of, making sure that they get called again, or even want to get called again. So
Yeah.
um,
Oh yeah.
awesome. Well,
Makes
let's
sense.
talk. We're wrapping up the end of the year. Any plans for 2020?
Just got to do what we did again in 2019, and just a little better. So that's what we're trying to do. We had a really good 2019, so it's just how do we do it again? So that's always the question: is, hey, we have a good month, how do we duplicate that month, or how do we be better than that month? And so that's the biggest thing. But yeah, most insurance companies, especially captives, that we all have our trips that we try to hit, for
Mm-hmm.
our campaigns that we got to do. And like with us, we got a trip that's pretty easy to hit, and then we got a trip that's like only the top 3% of the company hit, and we hit that last year, and we got it again this year, the top 3% trip. And so we're trying to do it. We're just gonna try to narrow it down and make it easier to get next year. So instead of doing it all in the last half of the year, so
Right.
that's the fun part. It's like, oh, nice, all of a sudden in January, you're like, man, I still got a whole year to get all this done and get all this production done. Then all of a sudden it's August, and you're like, holy crap, I got to make up for the first 8 months of the year. So we like to do that here, but we can do it. So if we can produce a whole year's worth of insurance in 4 months, we can definitely be more consistent. So that's what we're trying to figure out for next year. So
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a good plan.
yeah,
Well, that was a fantastic show. I want to thank you for your time today. I know we went maybe a
yeah,
little bit longer than we thought, but that's okay. I'm sure a lot of great information that I'm sure a lot of agents can find valuable. So thank you for your time, and we'll get off here. So, guys, as always, if you guys have any questions about marketing to your agency, or how to get more referrals, you can check us out on Facebook, our YouTube channel. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, shoot us an email, or even drop a comment below this video afterwards. And we always have, questions on things that might have not come up in this video, or topics that you want us to cover down the road. So go ahead and put those down below. I am your host, Richard Paul, and we will see you guys next time.